Hello, beautiful people. Mic check, mic check. How you doing? Anybody get sleep last night? Because I was up way past the 18th inning, just speaking for myself. This is just about one of the most least surprising lawsuits. I said, I'm not surprised. Shout out to the folks who hit me up to let me know. I did see it this morning, but I had meetings and things that I had to deal with, so I apologize for being a couple minutes late. Shout out to everybody who's watching. Hit the like button, share the live. Shout out to the best mod squad on the internet, holding it down, keeping the links in rotation. Shout out to all the members, all the subscribers, all the supporters here, Patreon, Substack, everywhere. I'll take it. I'll take it. So, as many of you have heard, Drake and Adin Ross and Steak's parent company have been sued in the state of Missouri. This is a Missouri court action. It is an attempt to get a class action against the parties involved. So the first thing that we are going to do as we learn and grow together is we are going to study.
I study rap battles for a living.
I'm sorry, I meant learn about what is the process, because we've never talked about a class action effort before. I have done the most basic research in the 15 minutes that I had, okay, to do numerous things. So this is my first round of research. This is my disclaimer and my preface to all of the people who are definitely smarter than me and more experienced than me in this area. Don't test the sister in the comments section. Okay, I'm doing my best, Tom. I'm doing my best. Again, my disclaimer is this is my first round of research into this process. So here's a quick see for the layperson, which is me and most of the people here. Okay, so the plaintiff files a complaint that describes both their own experience and how it represents a broader group of people. The document defines what the proposed class group of people is. For example, all Missouri residents who lost money gambling on stake.us in the past 5 years. That's an example of what a class could be. The lawsuit explains why a class action is the best way to handle the issue. Then apparently there is some official, there's filing the complaint, and then there's getting it to class certification, having it certified as, yes, a class action. And so this is a formal request asking the judge to officially recognize the lawsuit as a class action. And several key conditions have to be met, okay? We've got some terminology here that all rhymes. So, and it's funny, I was chuckling to myself as I was doing my little research because I was like, these words sound like something that would be in a Drake rap. Okay. I'm gonna read the terms and then I'll read the definitions, but just so that you pick up what I'm laying down. Numerosity, commonality, typicality, adequacy. I was like, I feel like I'm reading Drake lyrics right now. So, to certify a class, the judge looks for 4 main things, okay? Numerosity. There are enough people affected that it's impractical for everyone to file individual lawsuits. Missouri courts don't require a specific number, but usually at least a few dozen people will do. Commonality. Everyone in the class suffered from the same basic problem. In the state case, for example, all players allegedly lost money through the same social casino scheme. Typicality. The lead plaintiff's situation is typical of everyone else's. Their story represents the broader harm experienced by the class. And then adequacy. The lead plaintiff and their lawyers can fairly represent the group's interests. They must have no conflicts of interest and be capable of managing the case responsibly. So, oftentimes, to determine whether or not this rises to a class action, there is an evidence hearing. Thank you, beautiful. To show cause and that common pattern to help meet those requirements. There's a court decision, right? And then there's a notice to the class. If all things are successful, the court orders notice to be sent to all potential class members, usually by mail, email, or publication. It explains the case, the right to stay in or opt out, and what could happen next. And many of you have probably received a class notice before, right? Because you pay for or participate in a service, and all of a sudden you'll get an email like, hey, you may be part of a, right? Or, hey, a decision has been made about this case and you are entitled to apply for $5, right? So you may have, been a part of a class before or seen something come across your email about, hey, you have T-Mobile and T-Mobile was sued in a class action for blah 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 blah, and you are a part of that class. So that's it. But there is also the other side of this, right? This is the plaintiff side, but the defendant side is motion to dismiss, motion to change venue, motion to anything but have this case go forward. Okay. So that is our first round preliminary understanding of what it takes to put together and have certified a class action. And now we're going to look at this complaint and we're going to read it together. How's everybody doing? Hit the like button if you haven't already. Share this live. Sony has been hacked again. Here's your 38 cents for a privacy violation where they leaked all your information. Exactly. I got $1 this one time. Google is on your device too. I don't have the foggiest idea, but we're going to learn about all the parties because there will be a section in here that will tell us about the parties involved. Okay. There are very, very few. Very, very few. Yeah, a class action is all about punishing, the offending party, the liable party. But meeting your exact harms, no, definitely not. It's definitely not that. So, this lawsuit is filed against Sweepsteaks Limited, Adin Ross and Aubrey Graham. Introduction. Defendant Sweepsteaks Limited operates the world's most popular and profitable online casino, Stake.com, with the company's revenue reaching $4.7 billion in 2024. One of its founders touted Stake has hit a point now where I'm confident our betting volume is the highest in the world out of any casino, land-based or online. Despite its global dominance, which includes sponsoring a prestigious English Premier League soccer club, Everton, the Formula One racing team, Kick Sauber, and multiple mixed martial arts and ultimate fighting championship fighters, Stake.com found itself during the emergence of online casino gambling blocked from entering the US market, where online casino gambling is highly regulated and banned entirely in many states, including Missouri. I didn't know that. I've learned something new. Wow. Hello, Bompton, baby girl. That's a word right there. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, to evade these restrictions, Sweepstakes Limited created Stake.us, together, defendant, or stake, which conducts online casino gambling in open violation of Missouri state gambling and consumer protection laws. Stake.us is a platform marketed to Missourians as a so-called social casino that does not permit real gambling. But Stake.us is a virtual clone of Stake.com, rebranded to mislead Missouri regulators and consumers into believing it offers harmless gameplay instead of an unlawful gambling platform. On Stake.com, players buy chips, gambling, and cash out their winnings, just like at a regular casino. But Stake knew that openly selling casino chips to U.S. customers would immediately expose Stake.us as an illegal online casino. To hide the true nature of its online gambling operation, Stake asserts that the only chips it sells to consumers are tokens called gold coins, which can only be used for casual gameplay on the Stake.us platform, have no real world value, and can never be cashed out. However, Stake bundles every purchase of gold coins with a second type of token called Stake Cash as a supposedly free bonus. Unlike gold coins, Stake Cash can be wagered on casino games and cashed out for real money at a fixed 1-to-1 ratio to the US dollar, exposing Stake Cash as a clear vehicle for real money gambling. Well, we are all learning a lot. The interesting thing is, didn't read any of this. I just downloaded it. But the interesting thing is that I just assumed, didn't we all just assume that Stake was an online gambling platform? I thought that was just a given. Like we all. This is interesting because it speaks to what the reasonable person's interpretation of the or understanding of the platform is. I mean, I'm not surprised that because now I'm thinking about so many things right now. I'm thinking about so many different gambling platforms right now. But Stake is interesting because it's clearly a gambling website. That part. Call it what you want. A token for cash, 1-to-1 US dollar, that's called cash. And I'm betting Shania, sorry. I'm no pun intended. I'm betting that this is going to come up since he is explicitly being sued. Shout out to everybody who's watching. Hit the like button, share this live. Okay, so we've got gold coins and we've got stake cash. Okay, got it. We've got stake.com and then we've got stake.us. Stake's pricing structure for its American social casino confirms that the true purpose of these transactions is to sell stake cash, not gold coins. Every dollar spent buys players an equivalent amount of stake cash plus an enormous quantity of nearly worthless gold coins. For example, $20 buys 20.05 stake cash and 200,000 gold coins. $50 buys 50.12 stake cash and 500,000 gold coins, and so on. Despite defendants' claim that players are purchasing harmless virtual tokens, the pricing structure and gameplay reveal that stake cash, not gold coins, is the real product Stake is selling to entice players into engaging in real money gambling. Well, obviously, this is hilarious to me. You ever just have a bunch of things just go like click, 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 click right into place? Like, duh. I mean, duh. Oop. So, yeah, this is hilarious. Duh. I mean, I was wondering to myself, because again, I didn't look at anything. I just was trying to get here as quickly as I could, trying to transition from things that I was frankly much more interested in. Shift my brain over to YouTube content, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder how complicated this is going to be when I get into this document. It's not complicated at all. Okay. Virtual gambling is highly addictive and strictly regulated in Missouri by law. Games such as those offered online through Stake are illegal in Missouri. On April 23, 2025, the Missouri Gaming Commission issued a public service announcement stating in relevant part, the Missouri Gaming Commission is issuing this consumer protection alert to inform Missourians of a concerning nationwide trend that has made its way to Missouri. Fraudulent operators are falsely claiming that legitimate casinos in Missouri have launched online gaming platforms. Advertisements have surfaced on social media feeds announcing Missouri casinos are going online. The advertisements use genuine photos from the casino websites to represent the corporation and specific Missouri casinos. Online casinos are legal in Missouri. Any claims otherwise should be treated as highly suspicious. These scams not only put players at a financial risk, but they also undermine the integrity of Missouri's regulated gaming industry. Due to their unregulated nature, MGC is unable to resolve complaints and disputes arising from unregulated and illegal gaming sites, leaving victims with little to no chance of recovering lost funds. It is important to remember that just because you can download the app, visit the website, and play the games, it does not mean it is a legitimate and legal gaming platform. Ooh. By offering stake cash that can be wagered on games of chance over the internet and redeemed for real money, Stake is operating an unlicensed and illegal online casino in Missouri. Stake's deceptive trade practices have inflicted severe harm on the vulnerable in Missouri, and especially on individuals prone to gambling addiction and younger consumers targeted through Stake's free play marketing. Stake, in fact, has flooded social media platforms in Missouri and elsewhere with slick ads, influencer videos, and flashy visuals, making its games seem safe, fun, and harmless. By masking its real money gambling platforms as just another social casino, Stake creates exactly the kind of dangerous environment that Missouri gaming laws exist to stop. This deliberate deception exposes Missouri consumers to significant risk of financial ruin, psychological distress, and gambling addiction. In case you're wondering, this is page 4 of 34 pages. Some people have already asked, what is the watermark that says not an official court document? It's just because it's a non-certified copy. This is legitimate filing in the state of Missouri, just in case you're wondering. That's all that it means. There's a certified copy that's certified by the court. You pay for that. A non-certified copy typically comes with some kind of watermark, and it's usually either cheaper or free. Okay. Um, So you may see this document, and then of course my watermark is on it, but you may see this document in other places. It says not an official document, but it's an official formal complaint filed in the court. Okay. In addition to the stake entities named as a defendant herein, the so-called online influencers who post videos of themselves gambling in stake.com's online casino through social media applications and thereby steer commercial traffic to stake.com and stake.us are liable for violating Missouri law. Stake in particular pays online influencer defendant Adin Ross and Aubrey Drake Graham each millions of dollars yearly to engage in promotional live stream online casino gambling with stake.com, which, as the name implies, does indeed influence consumers in Missouri and elsewhere to gamble with stake.us. But Drake and Ross do so under deeply fraudulent pretenses. To wit, when Ross and Drake purport to gamble online with stake.com, they often do not do so with their own money, despite telling the public in Missouri and elsewhere the opposite. This fact is not shared with the public in Missouri by Stake and or Ross and or Drake. I'm looking at the footnote. One of them is a link to readwrite.com. Drake accused of playing with Stake's house money in $8 million loss. Media Matters. Influencers and far right-wing figures are promoting crypto gambling and sports betting to young people. Many of these figures, including Ross, have landed major sponsorship deals with gambling companies and are sometimes given house money to gamble with, removing the actual risk associated with online gambling. Okay. Plaintiff, on behalf of himself and all others similarly situated, seek here recovery of gambling losses with defendants, an award of class counsel's fees, an injunction against further violations, reimbursement of expenses and costs of suit as allowed by law, and such other relief as the court deems just and proper. Plaintiff Justin Kilham lives in Independence, Missouri, and lost money gambling in defendant's online casino as a result of defendant's wrongful trade practices as set forth further below, including within the last 3 months. Defendant Sweepsteaks Limited is a Cyprus limited company with its principal place of business located in Cyprus. Defendant Adin Ross is an individual residing in Florida. Aubrey Drake Graham is an individual residing in Texas. Jurisdiction is properly vested in this court because the claims for relief asserted herein arose here. Venue is properly vested in this circuit and division pursuant to Missouri law. Plaintiff does not plead expressly or implicitly any cause of action or request any remedy that arises under federal law. Plaintiff hereby demands trial by jury. So he's saying, clarifying that this is a state case, not a, pace or docket case. Plaintiff hereby demands trial by jury on all claims to the extent permitted by law. Defendant Stake is an online casino that facilitates and profits enormously from real money gambling. So this goes into just the background of gambling in the United States. The rise of online gambling has expanded beyond physical venues to online platforms, creating new opportunities and challenges for regulators. States that permit online gambling have adapted their legal frameworks to uphold the same standards of consumer protection and regulatory accountability established for traditional casinos. In states where online gambling is permitted, casino platforms are required to operate transparently, offering clear money for chance exchanges that are explicitly acknowledged as gambling and are subject to strict regulatory oversight to ensure compliance with the laws. Online gambling is not permitted in Missouri. This prohibition reflects the state's public policy against online gambling, ensuring that consumers are not exposed to the risks of fraudulent or predatory practices commonly associated with such operations, especially where, as here, they are accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through computers and mobile devices. Despite Missouri's clear prohibition on online gambling, Stake.us operates as a thinly disguised copy of Stake.com that is accessible to Missourians. In other words, an openly acknowledged online casino gambling site. Indeed, a side-by-side comparison of the two platforms reveals that Stake.us is virtually identical in appearance and layout to Stake.com, as illustrated by figures 1 and 2 below. Both websites prominently feature many of the same casino games and share identical color schemes, graphics, logos, visual themes, and have virtually indistinguishable user interfaces. These similarities are no accident. Stake.us was deliberately created as a replica of Stake.com's highly profitable gambling platform in an attempt to evade state gambling regulations, such as those in Missouri. As discussed below, the Stake.us casino platform allows players to purchase and wager stake cash, which is a series of digital tokens that, like chips in a brick and mortar casino, can be redeemed at a 1-to-1 ratio to the US dollar on games of chance, including slot machines, bingo, blackjack, roulette, and other casino style offerings. Effectively, then, Stake operates an unlicensed and illegal online casino within Missouri. Stake's platform provides games of chance that replicate an authentic casino experience. Stake provides players with online casino-style games, including virtual slot machines, bingo, scratch cards, and roulette. These games are designed to be pure games of chance, with outcomes entirely dictated by algorithms simulating randomness. Players have no genuine ability to influence outcomes through skill or strategy. Stake recognizes this, touting that its slot games are fun games of chance, and that its scratch cards games are games of luck. A game of chance involves any activity where an outcome is determined predominantly by chance rather than skill. Defendants' games fall squarely within this concept because players wager stake cash on virtual casino-style games whose outcomes are determined exclusively by random number generators, RNGs, precisely replicating the randomness and unpredictability of physical slot machines and other chance based games found in brick and mortar casinos. Defendant aggressively emphasizes the pure chance based nature of its games to entice players with the prospect of substantial payouts. Stake frequently promotes the potential for large winnings on its branded social media channels, as illustrated in Figure 3 below. Figure 3 prominently advertises a massive payout on Stake's Sugar Rush 1000 slot game, where a small wager of 5 stake cash resulted in a 63,623 and 50-cent stake cash win, a multiplier of 12,724.70 times the original bet. This form of marketing strategically exploits consumers' hope for enormous returns despite slim odds. The Sugar Rush 1000 game itself is depicted here. Just, I hate shit like this. You ain't gonna catch me because I hate things that look like this. You know? No. I definitely don't like interacting with them. The absence of skill components further underscores the game's reliance on chance. For instance, virtual slot machines require only the push of a button to spin reels whose outcomes are entirely RNG determined. Similarly, bingo and scratch cards depend exclusively on random chance, offering players no opportunity to influence outcomes. Defendant purposefully replicates key features of licensed casino games to deliver an authentic gambling atmosphere. The visual design, including spinning reels, celebratory animations, jackpot notifications, and dynamic audio effects, is intentionally crafted to trigger psychological responses identical to those experienced in traditional casinos. Defendants do not stop at virtual slot or simulated games. To further enhance authenticity, Stake offers live dealer games, which it describes as allowing players to interact with human dealers and experience what it would be like to be at a land-based casino while you're sitting comfortably at home behind your computer screen or on your mobile device. Stake explained how live dealer games function in a February 4, 2024 blog post, a screenshot from which is below. Live dealer games are filmed in a studio with a human dealer. This seems like a really bad idea. I'm sorry. And also really bizarre. I just gotta say, this is just so like bizarre to me. Live dealer games are filmed in a studio with a human dealer and are uploaded in a live stream for your enjoyment. As a result, they provide a hybrid experience between playing online casino games and playing at physical casinos. Rather than relying solely on RNG games, live dealer games utilize real cards and real tables, offering you a much more realistic and immersive experience. To make live dealer games extremely popular amongst online gamers, as you can see the roulette wheel spin on the cards being dealt in real time by your casino game hosts. I have so many questions. The first sentence is my biggest question. Live dealer games are filmed in a studio with a human dealer and are uploaded in a live stream for your enjoyment. Filmed and uploaded is not the same thing as live streamed. I have so many questions about the technologica requirements that would need to be in place to manipulate players in something that is actually pre-recorded. Based on what we read in the federal indictment with the NBA gambling case, I don't think it would be that hard. But we'll find out more. Stakes live dealer games feature professionally trained dealers seated at real casino tables using physical playing cards, roulette wheels, and other genuine casino equipment as depicted in 6 and 7 below. Creepy. Creepy, 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 creepy. Nope. No and nowhere. Maybe they just worded it wrong. Maybe they just worded it wrong. Maybe they just worded it wrong, and this is actually live. But either way, creepy. At these live tables, players wager, stake cash, communicate via live chat with dealers and other players, and watch as dealers physically handle cards or spin the roulette wheel in real time. Okay, in real time. The realistic, immersive nature of these live dealer interactions intensifies the gambling experience, rendering it indistinguishable from gambling at traditional casinos. For example, Figure 6 illustrates live blackjack. Players directly win or lose real money based on each hand's outcome, reinforcing the genuine gambling environment that Stake carefully cultivates. By offering these chance-driven, realistic casino experiences online, it still says chance-driven because they just spent a hell of a lot of time differentiating between chance-driven and explaining what the player cannot manipulate. So I'm really confused about what is actually live and what is not live. Because you could be talking to somebody live while the roulette spin in front of them is predetermined. Oh, thank you, beautiful. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Hit that like button if you're watching, everybody. Share this live. Yeah, I have so many more questions, but we're only on page 12 of 34, so we're gonna learn more. But also, this is one of the reasons why I started this live with let's take a preliminary glance at what is the process for getting a lawsuit declared a class, and that can involve evidentiary hearings. And that means also discovery, like very early on in the process to just figure out like what is this case, right? Like technically. Um does it rise to, so we potentially could find out a hell of a lot. And the fact that they are just going ahead and inserting in here Adin and Drake are not gambling with their own money, since they are alleging that in their complaint, that directly ties to what they would argue is a part of discovery. So that includes these gentlemen's contracts with these companies.
High five. I'm bulletproof.
Show me your splits. Yes, agreed. Agreed. There's something funny going on. There's something funny going on. And we last week reviewed the NBA gambling indictment and looked at how it was they're manipulating live games in real time. So just imagine the added barrier of it's actually just an interface. It's not in a room. Everybody is on an interface. Like the back end tech manipulation on this has to be insane. But they're a multi-billion dollar conglomerate. So that's pennies to them. This gets into not just contract stuff, but trade secrets for how it is they do what they do. Yeah, I don't know why people keep bringing this up in the chat, but if you can't get on topic and focus, you're gonna hit the airlock quick, fast, in a hurry because Jay-Z doesn't have a fucking thing to do with this. That's because he's a fucking paid bot. He just says what he's programmed to say. Stakes conduct fosters precisely the addictive, financially ruinous, and psychologically damaging activities that Missouri law aims to prevent. This blatant disregard for regulation underscores the urgent need to protect consumers from stakes' unlawful and predatory practices. Although Stake.com openly operates as the largest online casino in the world, it is barred from offering real money gambling to consumers in the United States. That's news to me. To circumvent this prohibition, Stake created Stake.us. Okay, we've got that. Unlike at Stake.com, Stake prominently represents that the Stake.us platform and games do not offer real money gambling. This construct relies entirely on the dual currency system intentionally designed to obscure the fact that players are engaging in real money gambling. So this again goes over, they're just satisfying their argument for every point that they have in the lawsuit. So this is repetitive, going over the one to one, the talking about the difference between the gold coins and their attachment to stake cash, and then the one-to-one payout for the US dollar. And then, of course, they've got cryptocurrency, Bitcoin in here as well. And in doing so, they inform players that stake cash will be redeemable at an implied rate of 1 stake cash per 1 US dollar. As such, the amount of cryptocurrency that can be redeemed per 1 stake cash is determined by the market price that the cryptocurrency in US dollar at the time of redemption. So it's real money, whether it's cryptocurrency or cash. The cryptocurrency is also, they're basically saying the cryptocurrency is also cash because that's the redemption valuation. They base their redemption valuation of cryptocurrency on the dollar. So even if the player says, no, I want crypto, that amount is based on the US dollar. Though stake tells players that no purchase is necessary to obtain stake cash, this representation is highly misleading. Players may acquire limited free stake cash through occasional promotions, such as receiving a single stake cash per day as a daily login bonus, or 5 stake cash by completing a cumbersome mail-in request. But these methods are deliberately obscure, impractical, and insufficient for regular gameplay. Ultimately, once a player's promotional stake cash is exhausted, the only viable way to continue gambling is to purchase additional stake cash. To obtain more stake cash, players must buy coin bundles containing both gold coins and stake cash. Stake characterizes these transactions as primarily gold coin purchases, with stake cash supposedly included as a free bonus. However, the pricing structure makes it clear that players are actually paying for stake cash. And this again goes over for every dollar spent on the coin bundles, player receive a nearly equivalent amount of stake cash. Upon information and belief, stake players regularly buy additional coin bundles when they run out of stake cash, even when they already possess hundreds of thousands or even millions of unused gold coins. The fact that players are making these repeated purchases when they have ample gold coins confirms that these transactions are driven entirely by the desire to obtain stake cash for real money gambling rather than for gold coins that stake claims to sell. The dual currency structure transforms what appears to be innocuous gaming into unregulated casino gameplay. The social casino is a lure to hide its illegal gambling operation. It's billed as the social casino has been tailor-made to provide the ultimate social, safe, and free gaming experience. And the lawsuit says that these are false representations. Stake further attempts to give consumers in Missouri and elsewhere additional comfort that they are not violating the law by identifying certain states where the platform is prohibited, thus creating the false and deceptive impression that Stake is being transparent about the legality of its platform. Ah, yes, the strategy of audacity. Let's just do it right in front of your face. Stake tells consumers that users in the excluded territories of Washington, New York, Nevada, Idaho, Kentucky, Michigan, Vermont, New Jersey, Delaware, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Maryland, Louisiana, Montana, and Arizona may not use the site. Indeed, Stake represents to consumers that it operates within the legal frameworks of states that permit social casino platforms and that not every state falls under this category. So, to prevent misuse, we need to ensure that our customer comes from the allowed states, steering clear of those where our services aren't legally permitted. Okay, so it's just going back through talking about the design and interaction functionality and how the platform, how you can wager either gold coins or cash with the click of a button. Toggle mechanism that gets you from wagering just coins to wagering cash. To make matters worse, Stake imposes confusing playthrough requirements that make it more difficult for players seeking to redeem their winnings. For every amount of stake cash that you receive as a bonus alongside your purchase of gold coins, you would need to play it through at least 3 times over before redemption is available. Ooh. So only stake cash received alongside your purchase would have a rollover. Here's an appropriate example. If you purchase gold coins and receive 10 stake cash as a bonus, you are required to play through with at least 30 stake cash before redemption are available. After you complete the rollover, you are free to redeem prizes with those funds. However, if you, in the meantime, receive more stake cash alongside a new purchase, redemption section will still be locked until that amount of stake cash is played through 3 times. In other words, players must repeatedly wager their stake cash winnings 3 times before they can redeem them for real money. This convoluted playthrough requirement significantly restricts players' ability to withdraw their winnings and compels them to keep gambling, thereby increasing their risk of further losses. Such deceptive practices not only underscore the fundamentally gambling-oriented nature of Stake's platform, but also highlight the substantial risk it poses to unsuspecting users initially drawn in by the promises of harmless entertainment. Thank you for the support. Okay, well, we've gotten down to the gentleman in question. Stake aggressively employs influencers like Adin Ross and Drake on social media to market its online casino gambling. Shout out to everybody who's watching. Hi, hit the like button and share this live. Yeah, let's get them likes up. You're here. You're here. You can do that solid, you know? You can do that solid. Stake leverages extensive social media campaigns to promote Stake, reaching millions of consumers across platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, and X. Stake's advertisements frequently feature videos of prominent influencers and celebrities gambling with Stake cash and winning massive amounts, as illustrated in figures 11 and 12. Figures 11 and 12 show screenshots of videos featuring paid influencers that Stake has prominently posted on its Instagram account. Figure 11 depicts influencer known as Jared FPS winning 100,000 Stake cash playing Stake's Plinko game, promoted with the caption "Huge dub." A 100K SC hit for at Jared FPS after yet another 1000X Plinko drop. Figure 12 depicts influencer Blessed MMA winning over 5,000 Stake cash while playing the Banzai slot game. Jesus Christ, this shit is so stupid. These influencer videos emphasize large monetary rewards using celebratory animations and visuals of virtual coins cascading across the screen, enhancing the allure of gambling. By showcasing popular influencers achieving substantial wins, Stake strategically employs social proof and aspirational marketing to give the misleading impression that large payouts are common, enticing users to shift from casual play into real money gambling with Stake cash. Stake also routinely publishes social media posts highlighting enormous player wins across various casino-style games, intentionally spotlighting the potential for massive returns from modest wagers. As illustrated in group figure 13 below, these posts feature eye-catching graphics to highlight extraordinary outcomes, such as a 16,907.50x multiplier on the Joker Jam slot. Jesus Christ. That turned just 2 state cash into a 33,815 state cash, a 606,960 state cash payout on Drax Stacks, and an astounding 500,000 state cash win from a single game of Keno. These large payouts, frequently promoted by stakes such as the Joker Jam win of approximately 17,000 times, Drax Stack win of 6,000 times, and the Keno win of 500 times, represent highly improbable events. Industry research suggests that a win exceeding 16,000 times occurs less than one in tens of millions of spins, while a 6,000 time payout typically occurs fewer than once per several 100,000 attempts. And even a 500 times return has less than a 0.01% probability per spin. By prominently advertising these exceedingly rare outcomes, Stake exploits players' cognitive biases, creating a misleading impression that such extraordinary wins are achievable and frequent, thereby encouraging impulsively and risky gambling behavior. Stake's deliberate use of this deceptive marketing tactic exploits consumers' cognitive biases, driving them to make impulsive wagers and chase unrealistic payouts, often resulting in significant financial losses and gambling-related harm. Stake also heavily promotes itself through celebrity endorsements and major sports sponsorships. Its most prominent partner is the internationally famous rapper and defendant Drake, whose public wagering of enormous sums on stake.com has created what industry experts call the Drake effect, massively boosting the Stake brand's popularity, especially among younger, impressionable audiences who admire Drake's glamorous lifestyle. Drake is also directly sponsored by both Stake.us and Stake.com, which prominently feature him on their web pages, strategically using his celebrity influence to encourage impressionable users to gamble. Stake.us boasts that Drake has been a longtime member of the Stake community, after which a partnership was formed where a new gaming experience will allow users to have a chance to win big alongside Drake. This type of giveaway will be on a magnitude unseen before. The Drake effect. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't even realize that I did that, but it really is gross. It's also fascinating that um industry experts call it the Drake effect. Like, I don't pay attention to gambling, so I wouldn't know what the fuck industry experts say about this, that, or the other. Okay? So, you know, slap my ass and call me Helen. I didn't even know, or whatever. But wow, that's terrible. I mean, that's a part of your legacy, dog. That's you? This you? This you right here? This is your legacy, the Drake effect. Getting more people to lose money, especially young people. Okay, so mm, mm, mm. Drake paying it forward with LeBron James. Oh. Mm, 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 mm. Every single person in that video should be ashamed of themselves, and that includes LeBron. Drake's involvement is further described on stake.com as a journey from a player to a partner and touts Drake's live stream giveaways and rewards, as well as his stake history in the making. Hit that like button. That's the least you could do for me. As I suffer my way through reading more about this man's deplorable fucking behavior. Even Drake's official Instagram account, Champagne Poppy, and X account, Drizzy, prominently display his partnership with Stake, which reaches over 142 million and 38 million follows respectively. That placement puts it ahead of his other ventures, including Nocta, his Nike sublabel, October's Very Own, his record label, Better World Fragrance House, and even his official fan club. On one of the most followed accounts in the world, this kind of visibility elevates Stake far beyond the typical World Wide Web platform. It becomes a centerpiece of Drake's brand ecosystem. Yeah, they got it in the description. I know it's hard to see, but they have the description. I mean, I don't ever look at his social media, but Stake is right underneath his name on Instagram, right underneath his handle in the description. Right there in his description on X. Drake and Ross live stream betting on platforms like Kick.com, which is also backed by the founders of Stake. In late 2022, the founders funneled Stake profits into launching Kick, built to rival the earlier developed live stream platform Twitch. Just months after Twitch blacklisted Stake's ads over consumer protection concerns. In response, they revived Stake's original playbook, relaxed rules, generous payouts, and aggressive creator incentives. Kick offered streamers 95% of subscriptive venue, nearly double Twitch's cut, and signed top talent with multi-million-dollar deals. The platform quickly made waves, but its loose moderation policies attracted controversial figures and questionable content, complicating its path to mainstream ad partnership. Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. This is Drake and Adin screenshots from Kick. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. What? No, they didn't. Drake's role as Stake's unofficial mascot. But Drake's role as Stake's unofficial mascot. Oh my God, boy, you a mascot?
High five. I'm bulletproof.
I just imagine him in a big old foam Anita Max win with a sign that spins. They called this boy a mascot. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm bulletproof.
Jesus Christ, they called the boy a mascot. But Drake's role as Steaks' unofficial mascot is quietly corrosive. He's glamorizing the platform to millions of impressionable fans, many of whom treat his wild betting habits like gospel. What makes it even more unsettling is that Steak apparently fronts Drake and Ross house money. So any reported losses are part of a marketing tactic designed to draw attention. Steak's influencer marketing, especially through Drake and Ross, is directed among others as teenagers in Missouri and in other hold on. Stakes influencer marketing, especially through Drake and Ross, is directed among others at teenagers in Missouri and in other states. They left a comma out, boy. It almost killed me. Hit the motherfucking like button and share this live. They called this boy a mascot. As one industry commentary puts it, Drake becoming Steak's cultural mascot is insidious. He's marketing the app to millions of aspirational obsessives, turning his fan base into a horde of gambling degenerates who trust their favorite influencers' baseless calls with divine faith. It's astrology for boys nursed on Barstool. It's even darker because Steak likely gives Drake credit to use for promotions, so there are no stakes to him going berserk with bets. He always wins. Oh my God. Hold on. Let me figure out who said that. Damn it. They don't have the name. They're excerpted out of articles on Media Matters and Pitchfork, who did interviews. So there's no name, but I'm going to read that one again. Drake becoming Steak's cultural mascot is insidious. He's marketing the app to millions of aspirational obsessives, turning his fan base into a horde of gambling degenerates who trust their favorite influencers' baseless calls with divine faith. It's astrology for boys nursed on Barstool. It's even darker because Steak likely gives Drake's credits to use for promotions, so there are no stakes to him going berserk with bets. He always wins. It's astrology for boys nursed on Barstool. It's a bar.
I'm bulletproof.
Another industry perspective states Ross is an example of influencers who are promoting crypto gambling and sports betting ventures to their young audiences. Many of these figures, including Ross, have landed major sponsorship deals with gambling companies and are sometimes given house money to gamble with, removing the actual risk associated with online gambling. Stakes and Drake's and Ross's conduct here threatens the welfare of Missouri residents and especially its young people. The National Institute of Health, in a 2021 white paper, observed that despite its illegality among adolescents, online gambling is a common practice which puts their mental health and well-being at serious risk. Stake similarly sponsors global sports franchises and famous athletes, including Everton FC in the English Premier League, the Formula One racing team Kick Sauber, and multiple MMA and UFC fighters, including Israel, don't come for me, Adesanya, who also posts for Stake. Yeah, they all look like they deserve each other. These partnerships associate Stake with the excitement and legality and legitimacy of elite professional sports. The point, remember that training video? These partnerships associate, oh no, it wasn't this finger. It was this one. That's right. We had a moment of sadness that he wasn't exercising the finger that can actually bring a good time. But anyway, these partnerships associate Stake with the excitement and legitimacy of elite professional sports. The point of Stake's aggressive sponsorship strategy is clear. By linking itself with globally admired celebrities and teams, Stake aims to normalize online gambling, increase consumer trust, and disguise the risks of gambling behind an appealing entertainment-focused image. Critically, Stake.us and Stake.com sponsor the exact same celebrities and sports teams, further demonstrating that Stake.us is simply a strategic copy of Stake.com, deceptively rebranded as a social casino to evade gambling regulation. Through its targeted and misleading marketing, Stake attracts users who remain largely unaware of the financial and emotional dangers involved, allowing Stake to maximize profits while escaping the accountability, oversight, and consumer protections required of legitimate gambling operations. Okay, class action allegations. Plaintiff brings this action on behalf of himself and all others similarly situated under Missouri Supreme Court rule, as representative of a plaintiff class as defined as all persons in Missouri who gambled and lost money in Stake's online casino at any time during the 5 years preceding the filing of this action. Members of the class are so numerous that the individual joinder of all absent class members is impracticable. While the exact number of class members is unknown to plaintiff at this time, the proposed class likely includes at least hundreds of members. Common questions of law and facts exist as to all members of the class. These questions predominate over any questions unique to any individual member of the class and include without limitation whether defendants engaged in unlawful, unfair, or deceptive business practices, but the irony that this motherfucker just sued UMG, and one of his lawsuits was deceptive business practices in the state of New York, and now he's being sued for deceptive business practices in the state of Missouri. It hasn't even been a month since that lawsuit was dismissed. Well. Drake. You got the ship, the Pepsi, this Drake, you be tricking people? I didn't even know. Drake, you got detective. Drake, you be tricking people? I'm sorry. Oh, God. I can't help it. I can't help it. I can't help it. I can't help it. Oh, God. Okay. Whether defendant engaged in unlawful, unfair, or deceptive business practices by advertising and selling their online casino services and products as described herein. I'm also thinking about, I'm sorry, I'm also thinking about the attorneys that were drafting this, because they've been working on this to get to this point, to file this lawsuit. They've been working on this for months. Right? They didn't just put this together last week. They've been working on this for months. And I just imagine them every time they were working on the draft of this filing, to get it ready to actually file, that they just chuckled to themselves. This motherfucker got the nerve to be suing for deceptive business practices. Mm, mm, mm. They said, go ahead, have your little birthday, whatever. That's fine. Come Tuesday? Or actually Monday, because this was filed yesterday afternoon at about 4:00 Missouri time. But anyway, whether defendant sales practices constitute an unfair method of competition or unfair or deceptive act or practice in violation of Missouri consumer protection law, whether defendants violated state supreme Missouri law as to plaintiff and the class, whether defendant online gambling casino is a gambling device within the means of state law, whether plaintiff and the class's losses constitute money lost at gaming per state law, whether defendants were unjustly enriched at the expense of plaintiff and the class, whether defendants used deceptive representations and omissions in connection with the sale of their online casino services and products to plaintiff and the class, whether defendant represented that their online casino has characteristics or quantities that it actually does not have in violation of Missouri consumer protection law, the appropriate measure of damages to be paid to plaintiff, and whether injunctive relief is appropriate to halt defendants' practices as complained of herein. Plaintiff's claims are typical. We talked about this. We went through so this is typicality. Plaintiff's claims are typical of the claims of the class. Defendants' actions have affected class members equally because those actions were directed at plaintiff and class members and affected each in the same manner. Accordingly, plaintiff's claims against defendants based on the conduct alleged in this complaint are identical to the claims of other class members. Plaintiff will fairly and adequately protect the interests of the class. Plaintiff has no interest adverse to the interest of the class. Plaintiff is committed to prosecuting this action to a final resolution and has retained competent counsel who have extensive experience in prosecuting complex class action litigation and who will vigorously pursue this litigation on behalf of the class. A class action is superior to other methods of adjudicating this controversy. The prosecution of separate actions by individual members of the class would create a risk or inconsistent or varying adjudications, establishing incompatible standards of conduct for defendants. Defendants have acted or refused to act on grounds generally applicable to plaintiff and the class alike. Questions of law and facts common to members of the class predominate over any individual questions that may be alleged to affect only individual class members. The damages sustained by the individual class members will not be large enough to justify individual actions when considered in proportion to the significant costs and expenses necessary to prosecute a claim of this nature against defendants. The expense and burden of individual litigation would make it impossible for members of the class individually to address the wrongs done to them. Even if every class member could afford individual litigation, the court system could not. Class treatment, on the other hand, will permit the adjudication of claims of class members who could not individually afford to litigate their claims against defendants, and will permit a large number of similarly situated persons to prosecute their common claims in a single forum simultaneously, efficiently, and without the duplication of effort and expense that individual actions would entail. No difficulties are likely to overcome the manageability of this class action, and no superior alternative exists for the fair and efficient adjudication of this controversy. Causes of action: count 1, Missouri Merchandising Practice Act. The online casino constitutes merchandise, and the plaintiff and the class use of the same constitutes a sale in trade or commerce. Defendants' online casino services and products are unfair and deceptive as complained of in this document. And the defendant's use thereof constitutes the use of deception, fraud, false pretense, false promise, misrepresentation, unfair practice, or the concealment, suppression, or omission of any material fact in connection with the sale or advertisement of any merchandise in trade or commerce, as those terms are used in Missouri state law. Defendant's action of labeling the online casino that sold the services to plaintiff and the proposed class as being only a social casino as opposed to a real one was unfair and deceptive because Missouri gambling consumers in the end received something different than what they reasonably expected and bargained to receive based on defendants' deceptive and misleading sales tactics as described herein. Like not being able to draw out your shit, being forced to play through once you get in. Drake and Ross deceptively and fraudulently misrepresented, as does Stake itself, that Stake is a social casino and not a real one in their promotional role for Stake, and they also, excuse me, and they also fraudulently and deceptively misrepresent that they only gamble with their own money on stake. Defendants at all times acted willfully and intended to mislead plaintiff and the proposed class and induced them to rely on defendants' misrepresentations and omissions about the nature of their online gambling casino, justifying an award of punitive damages under, blah, blah, blah. Given Missouri's strong public policy against illegally online gambling, defendants' fraudulent, misleading, and deceptive practices adversely affected the public interest. Count 2, unjust enrichment. Defendants have illegally taken money from the plaintiff and the class. Defendants knew that they took this money wrongfully given their fraudulent intent and Missouri's statewide ban on online casino gambling. Defendants' taking of money and property from plaintiff and the proposed class has unjustly enriched defendants at the expense of plaintiff and the class. Under these circumstances, it is inequitable for the defendants to retain the monies they have wrongfully taken from plaintiff and the proposed class. Plaintiff and class members do not have an adequate remedy at law except as asserted in this complaint. Count 3, violation of Missouri state law against Stake. Section 434.030 of the Missouri statute allows gamblers to sue for their gambling losses in certain circumstances. The statute provides that any person who shall lose any money or property at any game at cards or at any gambling device may recover the same by action of debt, if money, if property, by action of trover, Replevin, or Detenu. It's not the foggiest. Okay. Plaintiff and the proposed class are persons who shall lose any money or property at any game, gambling device, or by any bet or wager, whatever, as defined in Missouri statute. Stakes gambling products and services are a gambling device, and in some instances, also a game at cards covered by this statute. Plaintiff and the proposed class paid stake consideration for using its gaming devices in the form of their gambling losses and related fees and payments to stake. Stake should be ordered to reimburse plaintiff and their proposed class for their gambling losses under the statute. Prayer for relief. Wherefore, the plaintiff requests that A, the court determine this action may be maintained as a class action pursuant to Missouri Supreme Court rule, with plaintiff being designated as representatives of such class and plaintiff's undersigned counsel as class counsel. B, the court enter award of damages in an amount to be determined at trial or by this court or an order of equitable disgorgement against defendants. Disgorgement sounds exactly like what you think it sounds like. Disgorgement. Yeah. So, C, the court enter an order for injunctive relief enjoining defendants from engaging in the wrongful and unlawful acts described herein. D, the court enter an award of statutory interest and penalties. E, the court enter an award of costs and attorney's fees. And F, the court enter other relief as the court may deem just and proper. Dated yesterday. Carrie Danis and Lowe is a law firm. They're product liability attorneys in St. Louis, Missouri, representing those injured by America's largest corporations. The firm focuses its practice on complex litigation with particular focus on pharmaceutical product liability litigation and class action lawsuits. They have achieved over $1 billion in recoveries on behalf of their clients. These results are both nationally recognized verdicts and monumental settlements on behalf of thousands of injured clients. James Rosemergy is this guy right here. He's a partner, lead attorney. JD, University of Missouri at Columbia, Tulane at the Tulane Institute at the University of Paris, Trinity College, Cambridge, England, Missouri Bar, admitted to the 7th and 8th Circuit Court of Appeals. That says a lot about him. Yeah, that says a lot about him. This is one of the least surprising lawsuits in the history of lawsuits, as far as I'm concerned. For me, this was just a matter of time kind of thing. So when I saw the news earlier, I was not really surprised. I mean, timing is just like, oh, okay, this is happening. But in terms of like the lawsuit itself, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, we learned so much in reading the first 2 pages of this lawsuit about what is and is not allowed in the United States of America and certain states, right? And then what are, layperson's understanding of what is happening on all of these websites and apps is absolutely cash gambling. Like, we are all under the impression that that is what state does here in the United States, everywhere across the country. You are gambling. It is cash. These people would not be doing it if it was some non-redeemable gold coins. Like, duh. I didn't even know the gold coins were a thing. I knew money was a thing. They're not paying real people millions of dollars every year as mascots over non-redeemable gold coins. That's ludicrous. That's silly. That's ludicrous. Ludicrous. They're not a multi-billion dollar conglomerate because of non-redeemable gold coins. That makes no sense whatsoever. In this economy, Americans are fucking broke. People who gamble are trying to get money. They called the boy a mascot. They sure did. They called him a mascot. Said his fans are gambling degenerates. Drake becoming Steak's cultural mascot is insidious. He is marketing the app to millions of aspirational obsessives, turning his fan base into a horde of gambling degenerates who trust their favorite influencers' baseless calls with divine faith. It's astrology for boys nursed on Barstool. Y'all thought I cooked them on the homoparasocial behavior. Gambling degenerates nursed on Barstool. No. It wasn't the attorney that wrote it. He just put it in here. It's a quote from an industry specialist pulled from an article. I fucking Anita Max win titties, I guess. Fuck. Are you new? I said Anita Max win titties. Long black goodbye. Exactly. I'm like, this is the most pathetic LBG transition ever. I was thinking to myself, mascot titties, but then there is no mascot that has titties. So Anita Maxwin titties, I guess. Calling you a mascot is calling you a cuckold. It's calling you a puppet. It's calling you a lot. A mascot. They called that boy a mascot. Yes, and if you are new here, then you don't know. I could have picked a lot of other titties traumatized you quite deeply. If you offended, go find yourself somewhere else to hang out. Speaking of Mr. Mascot, he added a bunch more silly crap to his Amazon warehouse. I was going to look for reviews and a bunch of new items popped up. No, I'm not doing that to myself right now. I'm not doing that to myself right now. I can't get pulled down that pathetic rabbit hole because I still have to function professionally throughout the rest of this day. We'll have to come back to that one. I just don't even know what to say. Yeah, it's exactly right. So Anita Maxwin, hey, that was that was a courtesy. Okay, that was a kindness. That was a mercy. Oh my God. I doubt it. I doubt it. You know, UMG is standing in the booth with a switch. They just standing in the booth with a switch. Like, fix this. Fix this shit, ho. You ain't leaving here till you fix it. Who the hell knows? But no, this ain't their problem. This ain't got shit to do with them. They gonna drop it whenever they want to drop it to get their money. And they gonna keep it pushing. This ain't their problem. I think he's grasping to make any kind of money, period. Tours failing. You got a freaking, Amazon warehouse because you can't afford to continue to pay the overhead on the warehouse you were renting that was holding all of that pathetic merch. I swear to God, if he has an ice bucket as a part of his merch for this next album, I'm a riot. Okay? We ride at dawn. Nigga be insulting people's intelligence and they pocket. So this is interesting because this is really specialized. I mean, all law is specialized. I'm not, trying to be reductive towards other areas of practice, but class action law, that's really specialized law. This is a experienced and successful law firm, and they feel pretty confident that they got them dead to rights. And knowing what I know about the state of Missouri, and I mean the actual state, not like the people, not like the boundaries, but like the entity. Okay. Obviously all parties are gonna try and file a motion to dismiss, or I would imagine that failing a motion to dismiss, they might ask, what do I want to do? I want to say that out loud? Let me think. Let's just start with they're definitely going to file a motion to dismiss this. That'll be the rigmarole. They could try and argue venue, but I don't think there's any point in that. This is squarely a state Missouri case. So they'll argue for a motion to dismiss. I in this kind of a case, from the gate, it is going to be under the sharpest microscope of the judge because a lot of what they have pleaded is on the public record. So we all saw it happen, right? It's been happening. We all saw it happening. Even though Drake and Adin Ross are being sued individually, okay, they are going to take this up with Stake, and they're going to tell Stake, pursuant to their contracts with them, that Stake is actually the ones that are liable for any litigation arising from their contractual relationship. So that will be a behind the scenes things that Adin's attorneys and Drake's attorneys will be arguing that Stake is actually on the hook for making sure that their representation is covered. I'm sure they have a clause in their contracts. That's boilerplate. So that will be the first thing. And I don't think it's going to be too much of an argument from Stake unless I don't think it's going to be too much of an argument. We'll see what happens. But this is going to be under a microscope from the beginning because Missouri courts want to know if in theory, all state courts do, but Missouri courts want to know if Missouri laws are being broken, if Missouri consumers are being harmed. They are going to put this under the ringer. The other thing that I think is really interesting is that, and I started thinking about this very early on in the reading of this document, I started thinking to myself, boy, is this a blueprint? This is a blueprint for anybody else in another state who feels like they have suffered the same harm to try the same thing. The other thing that I also thought about is that this is going to actually cause states, the entities of states, to look at stakes practices in their state and figure out, have they come up with a loophole to violate our laws? And do we need to sue them? Do we need to join with other states to sue them? Like, this could be the beginning of pretty severe multiple layers and incidents of litigation. And expanding. Could grow to include other folks. So I really feel like this is a tip of the iceberg type situation. And in order to determine whether or not this is a class, like I said, there will be things like discovery, which will probably go pending motion to dismiss, et cetera, et cetera. There will probably be evidentiary hearings to see if they can satisfy those requirements to the court based on what they come up with. So this is pretty fucking serious and consequential, I think. I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. That's my initial gut reaction to it. That part. That part. Like, it's the timing of everything is really fascinating. And the other thing that would be like, again, this, I know a lot of people wanna say things like, this is karma and blah, 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 blah. Um, it's ironic as shit. It's ironic as shit that he sued for basically, he sued for unfair business practices in New York, and now he's getting sued for unfair business practices in the state of Missouri. And I said from the beginning, from day one of his original lawsuit, that he was clearly trying to get the attention of the feds. And so what would be really fucking ironic is not this getting the attention of the feds, because I don't think the Trump administration gives a shit, because I think they would be more inclined to say, "Let's legalize gambling in the United States of America," right? They'd be more inclined to say that than to say, "This is a problem and we need to sue Stake." And so this being a state thing is very smart. Nevertheless, it could then cause a higher level state action. It could get the attention of the states and the attorney generals of states to say the state of Washington is suing. We've looked at this, we've done our investigation, we've established evidence for our own case, and we're suing because of what they're doing in our state that is breaking the law. So it would be really fucking ironic if this actually does become a tipping point for additional class action attempts in other states, or actual states to go, "We are opening an investigation to figure out if there's a problem in our state with this company." You don't have to hop, skip, and jump to those things. They're literally right next door to each other. So, totally predictable. Totally predictable. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's not. We don't do that here. He experiences the consequences of his life every single day. He's a pathetic fucking person. That's a consequence of his actions, and he lives his pathetic existence every day. So I think he suffers the consequences of his actions every fucking day. So, um, we'll see what happens, you know? I'm gonna have to go off and familiarize myself with, do my second round of research on process and procedure here, um, and, their timeline for things, and, yeah, start tracking this docket. But least surprising lawsuit ever with regards to Drake and his behavior and relationships. And the fact that they said that this is his most successful business venture, it's more successful than OVO, it's more successful than his cologne, it's more successful than his Nike collab. They're like, "It's this." It's just like, "Boy, howdy. Damn." Wow. Your most significant impact, your most successful venture is being a gambling influencer. I'm sorry, you're right. A gambling mascot. Jesus Christ. He was a rapper. He was a streamer. And now he's a gambling mascot. I need somebody to Photoshop. You're going to have to find somebody in a mascot costume holding the head kind of like under their arm on their side, okay? You're going to need that template because I need Drake in the Anita Max Win, holding the Anita Max Win head so that you can see him in the mascot. Just take the Anita Max Win, cut her head off, work your magic. I need that. My whole perspective is just rocked. He's a mascot. Jesus Christ. He's a mascot for a horde of gambling degenerates. Oh my God. And Drake's word to them amounts to nothing more than astrology for boys nursed on Barstool. An actor playing a rapper, now playing a mascot. So he definitely never left Degrassi. If you've come back to mascot, you definitely still on Degrassi. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm, 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 mm. I mean, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. It was either that or Euphoria, where he like cut the song down to a third of what it was. We don't know what he called that boy. Everything but a child of God, okay? Everything but a child of God. Good Lord. He is now. Shit, I don't know. I never seen it, but he is now. State charter school mascot. Anita Max Win, played by Drake. A dude who's playing a dude who's playing another dude. Somebody call Robert Downey Jr. That's a good one, right?
I'm bulletproof.
He's definitely made it back out of the wheelchair, obviously. Contract negotiations for the show. He wasn't going to do that. Matter of fact, that was the offer. We gonna bring you back. We're bringing your character back. He was like, really? Yep. You can walk again? Drake said, tell me more. Tell me more. They said, you are the most popular person in the high school. He said, really? Really? Am I the quarterback? No. The point guard? No. Nope. Better. You're the mascot. Drake said, like the Oregon Duck? They said, yes. He said, oh, they love the Oregon Duck. They said, mm-hmm, yes, that could be you. Picture it. Baby, I wrote a book. So I already know. And then I wrote another book. You can buy it. And then I haven't told the chat about this. And then A Shift in the Fate is going to love this. I wrote another one. I know everything that boy done did. Mhm. Mhm. That's me right here up front. That's me. But in the meantime, and excuse my fingerprints, my scratches and stains and stuff, these are the ones that I get to, ply my way through. But yes, excuse my coffee stains. Let me show you a pretty one. There we go. Ah. Mhm. The big one isn't even going to go on pre-order. I'm not doing signed copies of that big ass thing. I'm just going to sell it on the bookstore. You can buy a signed copy of Exhibit A or Bloodlines now. I'm going to be putting out a little something in a couple days to, talk to y'all about what's going on with the books and the channel and all that stuff. But yes. I wouldn't have these books. I might have stopped the channel at the year mark. So many things. I was thinking about this morning of just like, if he hadn't filed that lawsuit, there were a couple factors that made me, feel like, oh no, I've got a second wind to, and the desire to keep doing this channel. But writing books and, all of that stuff, that would have never, ever happened if he hadn't just taken the L, gone away, and, come back with something new and different. But he doesn't move like a man who has any agency at all, you know? Because if he had agency and if he had financial freedom, I don't care how much Drake is worth. He doesn't have financial freedom. And a lot of us commoners are at least familiar with what that terminology means, right? You don't have to be filthy rich to understand what financial freedom is. He does not move like a man who has financial freedom. That's why he never goes away. If it's not one thing, it's another that he's constantly peddling. If it's not one thing, it's another. And, signing these cash deals. I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. It's just like, He's cash poor because he moves like a man who is cash poor and doesn't want to let go of his assets because his assets are what help him keep up appearance. But that plane, the overhead on that plane is stupid. The mansion, believe it or not, not so much, but still the cash overhead on the mansion is up there. But the plane, stupid, stupid. For what? For what? Where? Give me details. I'll have to cover it later today because I don't have time to extend this live that significantly. But anyway, back to Drake. Hit the like button, share this live if you haven't already. Yeah, this is one of the least surprising things ever, and I just predict that this has such a strong possibility of just being the first domino in several dominoes to fall, where Steak and its associates are getting sued in the United States of America for this shit. Do we know where this is happening? Is it a copyright or is it a you didn't pay me my money? Let me stop asking. Is this a federal case? I'm not seeing where the jurisdiction is or where this has been filed. Because he wants to be declared co-writer or co-owner. This is fucking annoying. It's not in federal court. You don't know. So we don't do that here. We don't do reductive. Here's what's going to happen. We don't do that here with court cases. So I'll look for it. We'll talk about it later. It's not, because it's not on the federal docket. If it's filed by Cameron, it's not in Missouri. It's in the Southern District of New York. Okay, we do have time for this because it's only 7 pages. So give me a second and we will read it together. Just give me a second to adjust some things very quickly. What's the name of this damn song? Oh, I can't do that. If y'all would be so kind as to refresh this live as we get into this document. Refresh this live and then share it to social media. Should have an updated title. Thank you, beautiful. Appreciate you. Okay. Here we go. Cameron is suing. Okay. Cameron Giles, or excuse me, Cameron, because that's actually his name. Cameron Giles, personally known as Cameron, plaintiff, versus Jermaine Lamar Cole, personally known as J. Cole, Cole World Inc., and UMG. Jury trial demand. Cameron Giles, plaintiff, by his attorneys as and for his complaint against Jermaine Lamar Cole, Cole World Inc., and Universal Music Group, herein alleges as follows. Plaintiff, professionally known as Cameron, is a world-renowned rapper and entrepreneur. Plaintiff brings this action for a declaration that he is co-author of the sound recording of the song Ready 24. 2 seconds, y'all. Okay. In or about December 2021, plaintiff agreed with Cole to contribute lyrics to a verse in the composition of Ready 24, which plaintiff understood he and Cole would subsequently record and defendant would release on a future album subject to certain specified conditions. Plaintiff's contribution to the composition was expressly conditioned on plaintiff having final approval over the release of the composition or any sound recording embodying the composition, appropriate credit on the composition, and subsequent sound recording, and Cole collaborating with plaintiff on a future project. Subject to the above conditions, Cole agreed to collaborate on a future recording that plaintiff would release as a single or appear on plaintiff's podcast, It Is What It Is, aka the podcast. Plaintiff wrote the lyrics for the composition, and plaintiff and Cole recorded the sound recording embodying the composition in or about June 2022 in New York City. 2 years later, with Cole having refused to honor his agreement to collaborate with plaintiff on either a single or on the podcast, defendants nevertheless released a sound recording which embodied the composition on the album Might Delete Later. The composition of Ready 24 has been registered in the United States Copyright Office by Cole and plaintiff is identified as a co-author. Okay. Plaintiff brings this action for a declaratory judgment that the sound recording is also a joint work under the Copyright Act. Court has subject matter jurisdiction because it is a declaratory judgment action for co-authorship under the Copyright Act. The court has jurisdiction over Cole and Cole World because upon information and belief, Cole is a resident of the state of New York and is Cole World's only member. This court has jurisdiction over all defendants, including UMG, because, again, this is in the Southern District of New York, because defendants' affiliates in the state of New York are systematic and continuous. Upon information and belief, Cole has toured and performed in the state of New York, and his songs are available for purchase, download, and stream to residents in the state. Upon information and belief, defendants have fixed, reproduced, communicated, publicly distributed, sold, and trafficked songs or authorized others to do so in the state of New York and this district. The court has jurisdiction over Cole because Cole directed his conduct and activities related to Ready 24 to residents in the state of New York. Plaintiff co-wrote the composition in New York City and recorded the sound recording with Cole at Electric Lady Studios in New York City. Upon information and belief, defendants marketed and performed the sound recording in the state of New York, and the sound recording is available for purchase, download, and stream to residents in the state. The venue of this action is properly laid in the Southern District of New York, pursuant to federal rules, because defendants reside in the district and because a substantial part of the events or omissions giving rise to the claim occurred in this district. Parties. Plaintiff is a world-renowned rapper and entrepreneur. Plaintiff also hosts the podcast It Is What It Is. Plaintiff is a resident of the state of Nevada and regularly conducts business in the state of New York. Upon information and belief, defendant Cole resides in New York. Cole is also a world-renowned rapper who regularly transacts business in the state of New York and within this district. Upon information and belief, defendant Cole World is a limited liability company organized under the laws of the state of New York. Cole World is defendant Cole's music publishing entity. Upon information and belief, defendant UMG is a Delaware corporation with a principal place of business located in Santa Monica, California, and systemically transacts business in the state of New York. UMG is the record label on which Cole released the recording. In or about May 21, plaintiffs agreed to perform on Cole's song titled 95 South, which was the introduction for Cole's album, The Off Season. Plaintiff contributed his vocals to the sound recording of 95 South. The Off Season was released in May 21. In or about December 21, Cole asked plaintiff to create a musical composition and sound recording embodying the musical composition with Cole for a future album that Cole was recording. Plaintiff agreed under the express condition that plaintiff had control over the release of the composition and any sound recording embodying the composition, and that Cole agreed to collaborate on a future single that plaintiff would release. In or about June 22, plaintiff contributed lyrics to the introduction and the second verse of the composition of Ready 24 during a recording session at Electric Lady Studios in New York City, which Cole was using for an ongoing project. At the same time, plaintiff and Cole also recorded the sound recording. Plaintiff never received compensation from Cole, nor did he convey in writing any rights in the sound recording to Cole or the other defendants. Plaintiff told Cole at the time of the recording session in or about June 22 that he would not authorize the release of the sound recording or composition for Ready 24 until Cole performed on the future single with the plaintiff, and Cole agreed. In September 22, plaintiff asked Cole if he would agree to perform on one of two songs that plaintiff had previously recorded. Cole told plaintiff that he preferred to collaborate with plaintiff on a song that the two created together as opposed to a song that was previously recorded. However, the collaboration never materialized despite due requests from the plaintiff. In July 23, plaintiff again reached out to Cole about appearing on plaintiff's podcast, It Is What It Is, instead of collaborating on a future song. Cole informed plaintiff that he was releasing an album containing Ready 24 and would agree to appear on the podcast at a later date. Between July 23 and April 24, plaintiff and Cole continued to communicate, but Cole repeatedly stated that he was unavailable to appear on the podcast. Nigga, you ain't doing shit else. In April 24, defendants released a sound recording of Ready 24, which embodied the composition on Cole's album, Might Delete Later. On June 13, 2024, Warner Chappell Music applied to the United States Copyright Office for the composition of Ready 24 under registration number, etc. Plaintiff is identified as a co-author. The sound recording is not registered. Plaintiff has not been paid any royalties from the exploitation of the composition or sound recording. Upon information and belief, plaintiff is owed at least $500,000 from the exploitation of the composition and sound recording. First cause of action, declaratory judgment as to the sound recording. Plaintiff repeats, Plaintiff contends that he is co-author of the sound recording. By reason of the foregoing, there is a justiciable controversy between plaintiff and defendant concerning the ownership of the sound recording. Plaintiff is entitled to a declaration that he is co-author of the sound recording. Plaintiff has no adequate remedy at law. Second cause of action, accounting. Defendants have received monies from the exploitation of the composition and sound recording embodying the composition of Ready 24 and have failed to properly account to plaintiff or pay royalties to plaintiff for the composition and or sound recording. Plaintiff is entitled to an accounting of all monies received by defendants from the exploitation of the composition and sound recording. Plaintiff has no remedy at law. Plaintiff demands judgment against defendants as follows. On the first cause of action, in order to claim plaintiff a co-author of the sound recording. On the second cause of action, in order directing defendants to perform an accounting of all monies received from exploitation of the composition and sound recordings embodying the composition of Ready 24, and to pay over plaintiff's proportionate share of such monies. Awarding plaintiffs attorney's fees and the cost of this action as permitted by law, awarding plaintiffs such other further relief as the court deems equitable and proper. This filed today, October 28th, 2025. So Cameron, aka Cameron, is suing J. Cole over a business arrangement gone bad. Yes, people love to throw that out as if they're genius legal minds. There's contemporaneous documentation of an agreement per the filing. So I'm disinterested in your armchair analysis of what you think the linchpin is in this case. Okay? Comport yourself accordingly. Too busy dodging rap battles. Indeed. Indeed. You certainly don't need a contract to have a claim. So that's why we focus on what's on the docket and what comes up as contemporaneous documentation for an agreement, not biscuit heads on the internet who think they got it. I don't fucking know. I think it has something to do with the fact that I have a vagina. But that's just, I'm just spitballing here. You're welcome, beautiful. Yeah, this is a well pleaded, and we've discussed what well pleaded means. This is a well pleaded filing. It's very straightforward. He wants declaratory relief and royalties. Very straightforward. Who knew? Or better yet, those people who listen to Rory and Mal, they probably still don't understand today that Drake lost his lawsuit against UMG. So obviously they're experts in whatever's happening with Cameron and J. Cole. These people don't have the foggiest idea what they're talking about. So now we've got two that we're going to follow. And yeah, this will be another motion to dismiss for failing to state a claim and blah, 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 blah. They're going to do all that stuff. But this is interesting, and we'll see what comes from it. I'm disinterested. If you're new to this channel, I'm disinterested in the public PR statements of parties that are being sued. The only thing that I tend to care about is what's on the docket. So if it's not on the docket, baby, I'm not concerned with it. So we'll see what the response is on the actual docket whenever that comes down. But I'm disinterested in people's histrionics for PR purposes. Those things hold no sway here, and they often dramatically contradict what they actually say on the record under penalty of perjury or court action for filing bullshit. So, if you're new, yep, you did. It was very fast. It's only 7 pages, so you can go back, I don't know, 8 minutes. You can go back 8 minutes and, you can see what it is that he is suing J. Cole for. I'm just gonna update the thumbnail to put these 2 gentlemen's faces on it as well. But yeah, we're not gonna excuse me, we're not gonna know anything more, reputable that we can hang our hat on until, we see an official on docket response. So, we're not gonna see that for a while. At least, I don't know, 14 to 30 days. So we'll just see what happens. We'll see. Let me look at the docket and see. Where is it? I've got several open. I lost it already. Let me go to my alerts. Jesus Christ. Following a lot of cases. So let me see here. Civil cover sheet, notice of appearing. Okay, attorneys are on the docket. So nothing on the court side has happened. This has literally just been filed. Okay. This was filed at less than an hour ago. Wait. Yeah. Yeah. This was filed less than an hour ago while we were here live. So, waiting for the court to do its thing. The, issuance of summonses. They have to actually serve the summons to trigger the timeline or the clock, I guess I should say, for when the response is due, which is determined, by federal law, typical timeline type thing, unless they ask for an extension for some reason and the court grants it. So we'll see what happens, but very clearly contemporaneous documentation is a factor in here. So for somebody who is, squawking, it's just really interesting to me that anybody who is, a fan of hip hop has the motherfucking gall after going through the Drake situation to try and declare that they can factually determine what is and is not going to happen with this case. Is absolutely, you look like a dumbass to people of reasonable intelligence, FYI. So don't listen to those people. Okay? Just wait to see what comes next. And that is what we will do. So, yeah. And if anybody is wondering what is going on with the Nicole Key suing Kendrick and Future and all the record labels and whatnot, their responses aren't due until December 6th. So we've still got a ways to go before that docket has any substantial movement. Yes, the biscuit head continues to biscuit head on the docket. Yes, I continue to pay money to read her biscuit head assery. So support the docket fund if you'd be so kind. It's going to be interesting. Well, I'm honored because personally, I think they suck. I just can't. I can't get with sensational stuff. I don't have the energy for it. I can't get my energy up for it to be sensational and like perform some kind of reaction to these things to garner clicks and likes. Baby, I am premenopausal. What the fuck do I look like? Okay. What the fuck do I look like? I just celebrated my getting closer to 50th birthday. I'm just trying to understand the facts and go from there. That's what we try and do here. So, look at that. We got everything all updated. I appreciate y'all. Amen. Amen. Yeah. That's one of the commonalities that we have here is that we do not have the energy for that. It's exhausting. It really is exhausting and it's loud and it's annoying. And I don't have it for that. So there we go. Drake is in, I think, the beginning phases of extreme fuck around and find out. And so is Adin Ross. And since I can't stand that biscuit head white supremacist jackass, I think this is just great for him. I think he deserves all the things. Oh dear Jesus Christ. Okay, we have a significant update on another docket. I think. Let me look. I just checked my email and it is docket alerts. Today, Milagro filed a motion to continue, then filed an amended motion to continue. Motion denied. Didn't anybody pay for any of these? No. Great. I guess I will. Let me figure out what the motion. I want to know what the motion to continue was. Was it discovery or was it trial? She already tried trial once and the judge said no. Okay, it's pretrial stuff. I think this was actually a couple days ago and it's just now getting. Oh no. No. There was supposed to be a hearing on Thursday, pretrial hearing. They want a continuance. Judge said no. Let me see what else I've got in docket alerts here. I've got like 25 that I have not looked at. Oh my God! We are switching. We are switching topics entirely. Let's go to an Absa for funsies prediction. Oh my God. 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 Oh, I'm so happy right now. Hold on. Give me a second. We're totally switching topics. Give me a second. Where are you? Okay. Where did I put a for funsies prediction in the Discord recently related to James Comey. Did I put it in? I must have put it in dockets. Okay, this was October 23rd, 2025 at 2:21 a.m. I love myself so much. I felt so strongly about this. I rolled over and was like, I need to capture this somewhere for posterity because I think this is going to happen. I'm going to read you exactly what I wrote. Randomly specific for funsies prediction. Comey is going to file a motion for the judge to review the transcript of the grand jury hearing, and if material irregularities or misrepresentations of the law were made to the grand jury by the government, rule it as exculpatory and that he should get a copy. I need you to understand, grand jury proceedings sealed. As I said here the other day, the only authority on the law in a grand jury hearing is the government. There's no judge. There's no opposing counsel. The government can stand before the grand jury and say, and this is an absurdist example for demonstrative purposes, jaywalking constitutes vehicular homicide. James Comey jaywalked. Here's proof. Here's proof. They move things around, right? They basically do a deep fake video of James Comey jaywalking. That's what they did with words. They moved words around in the law. So they present a deep fake of James Comey jaywalking, and then he gets indicted for vehicular homicide. They are the authority in the room with the grand jury. I said, I bet my motherfucking bottom dollar they're going to go after this. And the bar to get this shit is hard. It is very, very hard. You just saw the government ask a judge very recently. The government said, Judge, please release the transcripts of the grand jury with regard to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And the judge said, are you fucking crazy? These things are sealed. No. Ordered by the judge that the government is directed to submit no later than Monday for in-camera review by the judge all documents related to the indictment signers. The government, that ditzy lawyer, Trump's personal attorney that they made U.S. attorney, the indictment signers' participation in the grand jury proceedings along with complete grand jury transcripts. In-camera review is appropriate given the secrecy requirements applicable to grand jury proceedings, which she broke. She contacted a reporter and communicated with a reporter about the grand jury. She broke grand jury secrecy. The government is directed to submit no later than Monday for in-camera review by the judge all documents related to the indictment signers' participation in the grand jury proceedings, along with complete grand jury transcripts. Judicial review is appropriate given the secrecy requirements applicable to grand jury proceedings. The above documents shall be delivered in person to the judge's chambers. Yeah, in camera is just a fancy way of saying the judge privately reviews these things in full, unredacted. I was right. I knew they were going to go for that. That was one of my deep dive nights. That was one of my deep dive nights into the Comey case and my deep dive into her and just the flimsy foundation this woman stands on to, try and call herself a U.S. attorney. And I do believe that I predicted this before it became evident that she broke secrecy requirements and had spoken to a reporter. He was going to go for it regardless. But then it became public because a reporter was like, I've got text messages from her. And then she contacted her again and was like, you can't talk about this. We never spoke about this. I never communicated with you about the grand jury. And then the reporter reported on that. They were going to go for it regardless to try and find out what it was that she represented to the grand jury is the law. But the fact that it's now public and been verified that she broke secrecy by speaking to a journalist, that gave them all the fucking cause they needed. That gave them all the fucking cause they needed. She is the insurance lawyer. Yes. I love this so much. I'm so excited. I'm so fucking excited. I am so fucking excited. No, people need to calm down and take a breath. This is a federal case. So people who are saying she's going to get arrested, no, she's not. Do you think the federal government is going to prosecute the woman who they slotted into the position? The DOJ is not going to prosecute her. Okay? The DOJ is not going to put her in jail. Now, that doesn't mean that Comey can't move for sanctions of the government for its conduct and the representations that it is making in this case. He can absolutely do that. He can absolutely do that. That could result in stiffer penalties against a government official. Biscuit head girl. Halitosis. Lindsay, that's her name. Lindsay halitosis. Yeah, her. Ugh, that one. So, yeah, this is for the government, by the government. They're not going to do anything to her. The ones that would have jurisdiction over her would be the feds. They're not going to do shit to her. The only other jurisdiction over her is the court. But it would be through sanctions. And then if they become non-compliant with the court, it would be through contempt. But they're free and clear to make whatever fucking representations they want. And the fact that they moved words around in court filings to justify what charging him in the first place is crazy. There's still I don't know if it's been filed. There were like 12 things that came onto the docket just in one email. So I'm gonna have to go back through the docket. But when in the documents that we read last week, in a footnote, he said that he's going to file another motion to dismiss. He's filed 2 so far. He's going to file another motion to dismiss on basically actual innocence, because the statements that the government, the statements that Comey made that the government is using to prosecute him were public. They happened in an open hearing. There is a transcript. They have moved his words around on paper. They've literally moved his words around on paper to justify this. So if that is what they represented, if they materially misrepresented what he actually fucking said to the grand jury, problem. If they misrepresented the law to the grand jury, problem. Your case is done. There is a transcript and video, unimpeachable evidence of what the man actually said. And it's already been proven that the government has moved words around. They did it in fucking court filings. And he called them on it. And that immediately ballooned into people were already saying, what the fuck did they say to this grand jury to get them to indict this man? That question was already out there. But after we all saw in black and white, this does not match what he actually said. And this is the whole linchpin for why they're charging him. And then on top of that, you talking to reporters about this shit? I'm proud of me. I'm proud of me for that prediction. I'm so proud of me. It's absolutely abhorrent behavior. And then to have the motherfucking nerve to represent it to the court just shows how much these people do not actually give a fuck about justice. They don't even actually give a fuck if they're successful or not. They just want to indict Comey and make him have to deal with this process of making the case go away. For the government to literally rearrange his fucking words and think that is going to fly in a federal court of law is a fucking joke. It is obviously not going to fly. There is superseding evidence that that's not what the fuck he said. So it's not going to fly. So they're not doing this to get him prosecuted. They are literally doing this to fuck with him at the behest of the president, which is one of his motions to dismiss. He fucking hates me and wants to fuck with me. Vindictive and selective prosecution. The process is the punishment. And if you are anybody other than James Comey, the process is the punishment. What you go through having to fight a federal case against the fucking feds? Are you kidding me? He's very fortunate. He's privileged. He's got a lot of relationships. And he is collateral damage for bigger issues of law and the Constitution and governance. And so what I planned to actually spend my time on today, my leisure time, okay, was that Amici are starting to hit the docket in the James Comey case. And so there's former members of Congress, Amici, that I'm going to find time to read, which I thought I would be reading, over lunch. But I'm here with you good people. And then there's former members of Congress have filed an Amici. I haven't looked at it. We're not going to look at it together because I do have to go do other things shortly. And then there's former DOJ officials who have also filed an amicus brief to the court. And then there are others, right, that have filed that's great. That's cool. I'm not so interested in those. I am interested what former members of Congress have to say in their brief to the judge. And I am interested in what former members of the DOJ have to say to the judge. And these filings are in favor of dismiss this case. So we'll be getting into those at some point in time, but that's going to be my leisurely reading for the day. Yeah, he can afford to fight this, but the fact that he has to is fucked up. And he straight up on day one put it on his back. James Comey on Instagram is crazy in a video saying, let's fucking go to trial. I want a speedy trial. And I've already said this judge is keeping this tacked to a January 5 trial date. It's almost November. So it is fast moving. And if it is, he's not going to plead to anything, right? They're not going to withdraw the case. It's either thrown out by the judge on one of several fucking grounds, or they go to fucking trial and humiliate the government. Literally humiliate the government. Just think about the witnesses that he can call, including everybody who worked for the government who said there's nothing here, and then lost their jobs because they refused to prosecute him. Career civil servants experts in the law. He will humiliate the government and Donald in particular at trial. And of course, he wants this case dismissed and thrown out with prejudice so that they can't fuck with him again in the future. And also to set the precedent of not to do this to other people, because Trump just keeps going around to various jurisdictions and appointing his personal lawyers illegally as U.S. attorneys. So Comey is trying to effectuate very specific outcomes with this case to stop government corruption overall, not just what is happening to him, government corruption of the court system in these kinds of prosecutions, not just what's happening to him, but in how the Trump administration is appointing people illegally, et cetera, et cetera. So he's throwing himself on the sword of battle and running up the hill to fight at the same time. And I think that he's going to win a motion to dismiss, period. But part of me is really sad about that because I would love to see this go to trial and see the government be fully outed and humiliated for these shameful fucking tactics. She already is. Her and James Comey's motions to disqualify these U.S. attorneys were joined by the court across jurisdictions. Across jurisdictions, the federal court system has said, well, these two things look pretty similar to each other. Let's figure this out together, shall we? The stakes are very high here. Very high. The implications are very high. Very, very, very high. So, that's where we're at. I'm just pleased as punch that the judge has said, actually, because any judge can privately, with good cause, say, I need to see these things that are sealed and otherwise not available to the public. Any court that is adjudicating a case that has come down from a grand jury situation can then go back and privately look at what the process was in the grand jury to determine if it was just and proper. So the judge is exercising the full authority of their robe to be meticulously thorough on what is the probable cause and justification for these charges. What did she say to the grand jury? Did she misrepresent the facts? Did she misrepresent the law? And I would fucking bet you at least one of those, the answer is yes. For funsies in my head, I bet you 500,000 gold coins for a mistake. Ah. You know what? I'm so grateful that you are here right now because I was really sad that I wasn't going to be able to get to use this today.
Mr. Scott, open the door.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
Adin Ross's loser sorry ass. Some crypto bots jump into my chat. Yeah, it was pretty good, right? All the way up to the end. Pretty fucking good. Yeah, I'm riding high off of, you know, Drake getting sued, interesting. Being called a mascot, whoa. Cameron and J Fold, okay, whatever. Comey judge saying, actually, I'm gonna go take a little look-see. That just warms my fucking soul. Warms my fucking soul. Ugh, Lord have mercy. Y'all have just the best day. Okay, just the best day. I'm gonna go get reacquainted with this little docket here and show it some ankle. It deserves it. That's just sexy. And like I said, it's been flooded with stuff in the last several hours. So if anything pops off that we need to talk about, we'll do that. But for now, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Like this on the way out if you haven't already. Share this live so people are in the good, and go get you a damn book. Reading is motherfucking fundamental. See you soon. Peace.